Aloha, guys. My God, oh my gosh. This episode, it's everything. Oh my goodness. The episode starts off with Princess Rhaenyra and in a line sitting down and having like a whole bunch of prospects. But obviously it does not turn out well. She does not. She ixnays at all of those guys. And then later on, she goes to her bedroom after all that drama, after all that not so fun finding a man in your life kind of like moment. And then what she sees on her bed is like a map that shows location from her bedroom. There's literally a secret door in her bedroom. I wish I had that in mind. And that goes somewhere, okay? And then she follows the map, and she ends up meeting with Damon at the end of that map. Anyway, Daddy Damon, Uncle Damon, literally just takes her out on a town, showing all the effervescence of life and what it has to offer outside the walls of the castle, without anyone's discretion but them two. Just out there doing their thing, saying all kinds of things, dancing, kissing, people like talking, and just living that life. Anyway, they end up at a brothel and they go in there, and she's obviously in disguise, and so is he. They're wearing like hoodies. And he shows her the brothel and sees what else there is to offer when you become a woman and when you're like of age and like when you want to and all those things and all of that. So, you know, there's a moment when they end up locking eyes and like having a moment together that's more intimate. That's like what I'm so down for. I'm like, yummy, oh, juicy scene. Anyway, they start making out and it's just going at it. And then she's obviously enjoying it. She's like, "Oh my god!" And she looks like she's in control at this moment. And he just like abruptly stops. He stops it and just like storms off, and then just leaves her. And then she like runs out, and she's like, "Damon, Damon, oh my god!" Then there's like a little boy who follows her and like obviously looks like one of Varys's little birds. If it was like Game of Thrones, but that's what it reminded me of when the boy was following her back to the Red Keep. Anyway, word gets to Otto Hightower, and like he goes that big old mouth king, creating more scorn in the fields of this peace, and tells him, and the king doesn't believe him. He believes it's a rumor, and the king Viserys, I'm living for him in this moment, kind of going in on him, like, you're just making up these lies, or who made up this rumor? I'm gonna gouge their eyes out, their eye sockets, and DRACARYS, that ass. So, anyway, so the king's upset, and then it goes back to Princess Rhaenyra ends up like going back to her room and sees Sir Kristen Cole, who's also a daddy. Oh, yummy, yummy, daddy. Anyway, like she is just feeling her hormones and like just gives it to him. She unleashes, touching his arm, pulling off his armor, and just doing all the things. And he's like, "Oh, should I be doing this?" Like, his body language. But anyway, they go boom, they smash into each other, and it's just all the things. Excuse me, my throat is like a little dry and itchy. And while they're doing it, they cut scene back and forth with King Viserys, and him and Alicent Hightower like doing it as well. She's just laying there like a dead zombie, like one of the Night King's minions, just like, and he's on top of her, just giving it his all at 72 years of age or whatever it is. But you can tell she's obviously not into it. She was never down for this. She's not really having a connection with the king. It's just, it was a proposed marriage, a fixed marriage for, politics and political gain and whatever it is that her father had bestowed upon her, right, to get his family line in. Anyway, I'm like baffling. Anyway, so the king confronts Damon, and Damon is like drunk. You know, he's hanging over. And the king kicks him in the stomach, is like going at him and like telling him, how dare you defy my daughter? I was like, oh my god, defile. Love that word. Defile. Anyway, and Prince Damon is like not even, he's not even denying any of it. He's denying nothing, but he's going along with it. Which I'm like, oh my god, is this like, are you doing this on purpose? Are you like egging your brother on, like to make like it's real and it really didn't happen? So anyway, that scene ends with the king pissed, and I guess he's believing the rumors. So then Queen Allison and Prince Rhaenyra have like a moment outside because Allison I Hightower overheard the conversation. She was hiding behind the doors when her father was, you know, speaking rumor truth, darling, to King Viserys. But anyway, they're in the Godswood. Princess Rhaenyra and Queen Allison, and she's like, "Is it true? Is it true? Where were you last night?" And you know that whole conversation happened, and Princess Rhaenyra was like, "You know, he just took me out on the town and just like went to go show me all these things and life, and we never did anything. We never did it." And she's like, "Are you lying?" And she's like, "No, no, I'm not lying. I would never." Choking. Anyway, so yes, but that scene kind of ends well, and she's like, you know, the queen is just like, ugh, she doesn't know who to believe at this point. And she's like, oh my god, my father, like, what is going on here? Do I believe her? Anyway, I was like, it's gonna break the relationship, but that scene ends well because, you know, they kind of like make peace and they kind of like find common ground. So she believes Princess Rhaenyra. So then the king has a moment with his daughter, Princess Rhaenyra, and talks about, you know, he actually kind of wants to, like, he was so mad that he was like, I'm ready to just, like, to send Prince Aegon and make him my heir. And she's like, Father, it was not true, Father. He've never done anything. And so the dad is upset and, like, proposes that she marry Prince Laenor. I mean, Laenor of House Valerion, who are also Valerians of Valyrian blood. And she accepts that immediately. Like, she's like, I'll do it, Dad. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna marry Prince Laenor. I mean, Laenor. Laenor Valerion. The queen who never was a son. I feel like I skipped a part. um, yeah, so she ends up just going with that. Oh, yes, I did skip a part. And then King Viserys has a meeting with with Otto Hightower, sends him in, and just like goes off, just says 5 days, sitting there like on the throne, on his little chair in the council room. 5 days you served, and my father, and all the things, King and Jaehaerys. And, you know, talking about the two previous kings, they obviously died 5 days after. And you know, he was the one to gain. He became Han because of that. So the King Viserys also just sums up this, you know, what he's feeling and saying, you're not trustworthy anymore. I don't believe you. I don't know what to think. You're in line for your own selfish reasons. You know, you purposely put your daughter and make her marry me and like all this crap, and which is true. Snake, I'm so happy about him. DRACARYS Otto, we all hate your ass, you piece of crap. Anyway, so that looks like that's the end of Otto because Otto is no longer going to be the hand. So he fires Otto and says, goodbye. Have a nice trip. See you next fall, bitch. And oh my god, how did the scene end? And it just ended after that. Anyway, the show was amazing. Like, this episode was just everything. Juicy, drama galore. Oh, just all the things that I love about Game of Thrones, darling. Obviously, I'm House Targaryen. Mother of dragons and breaker of chains. I can also speak Dothraki. Koi koi. Shakarev shisan han. Re shisan dadling. Shaka abridis doste akama hogoron shikati mori. Shaka abridis okweriken mori. Shakarev shisan han. Rehe shisan dadling. And you know, Drogon roars in the background. Okay, oh, love Daenerys. Anyway, that was a fire episode. DRACARYS loves it. 10 out of 10. Come again. If you like my shit, if you like me, like and subscribe. Subscribe. Bye, guys.